Hey y'all. Welcome back to episode 2, season 6 of My Vulva Me, Dear Black Woman. First of all, you see how I'm looking? You already know. Don't mind I'm missing the earrings, so mind your business before y'all start talking. But look how I'm looking. Shout out to Lisa and Braille. You already know. Anyway, thank you. So tonight we are talking to none other than my boy Kofi of Express Yourself Black Man. I am so excited about this conversation. Thank you. I am so excited about this conversation. It was such a pleasure to connect with him a while back when I did his podcast, Express Yourself Black Man, and we talked about black men and like the spaces that they don't get the privilege of being in, like in being abstinent and the whole idea of be his peace and all of those kind of things that we talked about on his show, and we had to continue the conversation today. And so as soon as he jumps on, we're going to jump right in, and I am just like low-key over the moon about this. If you missed Tuesday. If you missed Tuesday's episode, we talked with Chris Beauville. We, in the beginning, we did a little Bible study. We unpacked Genesis 3 and what this idea of this concept of, and that scripture 3:16, and your desire will be for your husband and he will rule over you. Excuse me. We talked about that, and then we really got into in his Dear Black Woman letter. Really, like, y'all was loving it when he said, "Dear Black Woman, like, I love y'all, but I want y'all to use y'all discernment." So we really got into that, and I know that today it's gonna be no different. It's gonna be no different. Really, the whole season, the lineup is super fire, and I'm so excited. But anyway, Kofi, I see you on. Go ahead and send the request so that I can let you in. And we're going to jump right in. We're going to jump right into it. I hope y'all are doing all right. I hope y'all are prepared to vote next week. And so on Tuesday when we come back, I hope that everybody's coming back having already voted. Amen. Our literal lives depend on it. Okay. All right. I'm so excited. He get ready to come on right now. I just accepted the request. Oh!
What's up?
What's up?
How you doing?
What's up? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
I am so excited about tonight.
Me too, man.
I am so excited because people been inboxing me like, what's tonight about? What's tonight for? Like, who we talking about? And I was like, we getting everybody. You, your mama, your cousin, your daddy. Bring everybody to the conversation because it's really, we really gonna go there. Like, you know, if tonight is anything like our episode on your podcast, I don't know if the people have got it ready. Honestly and truly, I
forgot. I think it's episode. It's between 59 and 61. But yeah, that episode was fire.
You see that flex he just did? Between 59 and 61. You see how that light flex he just did?
Oh my God. I'm literally trying. I'm trying to find it right now. I'm literally about to tell the people, but
tell the people when they can find it because we got into it. We really got into it.
It was a great episode. Great episode. Let me see. Where is it? 60. We talked about God, sex, and masculinity. Yeah.
So what's the name of the podcast? Express Yourself Black Man is the name of the podcast.
That's the name of the podcast. Yep. It's on all platforms, so you can find it wherever, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, everywhere you find your podcast. Episode 60 is called God, Sex, and Masculinity with Brittany. We talked about a lot. It's literally an hour long. So yeah, we got into some stuff. Just about to get into today.
Okay. And honestly, this flow, I'm so excited because even just our pre-conversation before we actually tape was crazy, was dope. And I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be, when you are able to connect with like-minded people who are really doing the work and like really in the game and really wanting to see Black men and women like in real life
Yeah.
succeed is you got to make those connections. You got to those. These are the type of collaborations that fuel me, that feed me, that I'm very, very excited about, because we got a lot of people out here, respectfully, you know, all skin folk ain't kin folk, if you know what I mean. Like, you know,
Yeah.
they out here.
We ain't listen. We ain't gonna get into all that, but that's
We're
a
not
fact.
gonna get into it. We're not gonna get into it. But people are coming in the name, but
Mm-hmm.
not really. Okay. So before we jump into Be His Peace, what that means, the relationship between Black men and women, what's going right, what's going wrong, and all of those things,
Mm-hmm.
this is your first time here on My Vulva Me. And the way we do things over here, first and foremost, we like normally as Black women, but we're doing a special edition this season with Black men, where we allow you, we want to give you your flowers while you're here, but more importantly, we feel like Black people need the space to big themselves up. You know how hard you work, you know the grind, you know what you're doing. So this is the opportunity for you to give yourself your own flowers. So by
Oh,
way of introduction,
okay.
tell the people who you are, what
Uh,
you do, and why you are uniquely qualified to have this conversation.
oh, wow. Listen. I'm gonna just tell the people what I do, and I'm gonna let them tell me if I'm qualified or not, and we'll rock out like that.
Okay.
Um, so I am a mental health advocate over the last 5 years. Really, what I started with was a Kizzle brand, which is a project aimed at raising awareness for depression and helping people through difficult times. I did that from 2017 up until 2020. And what we did with that was we would go to different organizations, different schools, anywhere that would let us come in, and we would talk to kids from the ages of like 5 to 18 about like how to achieve your dreams, how to tie a tie, business etiquette, building a resume, whatever the case may be. And then we would mix that in with mental health. And so we would do workshops. I created workshops where we would go to different schools and talk about a variety of different things that I wish I had learned at that age. I did that up until 2020. In 2020, I was in a relationship and I found out that the person that I was with cheated on me. And so that led me to hopping into therapy. And when I got into therapy, I realized like I thought I was self-aware before therapy, but once I got into therapy, I was like, damn, you don't know as much as you think you know about yourself. And I started learning all these different things about myself. And so that's what sparked the creation of Express Yourself Black Man, because I realized as Black men, we normally don't have a space for us to talk about the things that we go through. We normally kind of internalize it, or we talk to the bros that can't really help us as much as a therapist would. So all the things that I was learning in therapy, I started to research on my own and add in my own experience. And I created a platform, Express Yourself Black Man. Started through the podcast where I would give the game out on what I was learning from therapy so that Black men would see the value of being in therapy, but also be able to get some of those therapeutic benefits without having to pay for an actual therapist. So like we talked about earlier, you were on episode 60. We're 66 episodes in. We just did our first in-person podcast episode in Atlanta. As part of that, we also partnered with Whole Brother Mission. So Whole Brother Mission is a 501c3. They have, or we have over 3,000 therapists, 3,000 Black therapists that we work with. I'm also the chief brand officer of Whole Brother Mission. So I advocate on behalf of those 3,000 therapists to help build strategic partnerships. And one of those partnerships that we have is with, obviously, the Express Yourself Black Man platform and Safe Haven. Safe Haven is our holistic healing community. It's our holistic healing platform where we actually offer resources to these Black men. So not only do we do the social media where we come on and we give the free game on social media, we have the podcast, we do these lives, we have a lot of free content, but we also do Safe Haven, which is where we pair Black men with actual resources that we get through partnerships with Whole Brother Mission. So we do low cost therapy through Whole Brother Mission, where sessions are $75 a session. We pair whoever's in a Safe Haven with a Black therapist, and they have virtual sessions where each session is lower cost than what you would actually get if you were going to find a therapist on your own. Not only do we do that, but it's a holistic healing platform. So we have the medical concierge service. We partner with the healthcare plug, and they basically take advantage of, or they take care of pairing Black men with actual primary care doctors in their area. So they do the whole research process. It's free. All they got to do is join a group, and then they'll fire off the process that they have for them to find their own doctor through the healthcare plug. So that's all facilitated through Safe Haven. Outside of that, we also have a webinar, which is free, teaching Black people, not only Black men, Black people in general, how to find a Black therapist. So we're holding that on the 12th at 6 p.m. That's a Saturday. So we're teaching people how to go about the process of finding a Black therapist, what you want to do, what you don't want to do, how you know you have a good therapist, all that good stuff. And then the people that are actually interested can, in that webinar, actually be paired with a Black therapist. So we have over 300 people that registered already. Last time we had over 300 people register as well. So we're going to keep on doing it as much as the community, wants to participate. We're going to do that as well. So it's a lot more that I do, but that's, just to keep it as short as,
Listen, it's the resume for me.
Listen,
it's the receipts for me. Okay.
Look,
so
man,
if there, no doubt about it, you are qualified to have this conversation.
We are doing the work. Yeah. We are doing the work without a doubt.
And what I love most about you is that you are not just hand to the plow doing the work, but you are also doing the work in your own life. Like, you've done the work and you're continuing to do your work in your own life. So you're eating what you're serving, right, which is rare.
Right.
Now, honestly, truly. So the other staple of the Intimacy Firm and my Vulva Me is our introductory game.
Okay.
I tell you about the game. I never tell guests about the game because I like to give them a little surprise.
Okay.
So I am going to, and those in the comments, those who came here to participate, if you are new here, don't know about me, anything I have going on, hello, welcome. And you are allowed to play along as well. Play along in the chat. This is called Are You More Like? I'm going to ask you a question and give you two options.
Okay.
You have to pick one.
Is this a person or is this anything?
You'll see.
Okay.
You'll see. And you have to pick one. You don't get to say it depends. You don't get to say a little bit of both. Which one are you the most like? And what? Okay? All right. We're going to start off easy and then work our way up. Okay?
All right.
So if we're talking chili spice, this is a banana pepper. Very mild. Very light.
Okay.
So when you go outside the world as a man and your Black manness,
mm-hmm,
you step outside your doors, do you face the world as a medicine cabinet or a liquor cabinet?
As a medicine cabinet or a liquor cabinet?
Yes.
What do you mean by that, though? What do you mean face the world as a medicine cabinet or a liquor cabinet?
Whatever you think I mean. So if you were because there's Are You More Like? So when you think about you as a Black man, as you navigate this world, do you navigate the world as a liquor cabinet or a medicine cabinet?
I'm gonna say medicine.
Why?
The reason why I say medicine is for a few reasons. First of all, I always feel like liquor has a negative connotation to it, so I'm always just like, all right, I don't know about that. Okay. Second of all, I feel like people take medicine for a variety of reasons. When I think about what I do in mental health, I think people take medicine to kind of help them with depression, anxiety, all these different things. And when I think about what I do just in general, I feel like that's kind of accurate. So that's what I was thinking. That's why I was asking you what you mean by medicine or liquor cabinet. But I understand that the point of the game is for me to kind of come to my own conclusion.
Okay, come on. There you go. All right, great. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, next question.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about how you are when you get upset, when you have really big feelings,
mm-hmm,
are you ice cream or are you cake?
When I have really big feelings, am I ice cream or am I cake? I'm cake. I would say I'm cake.
Okay, tell us why.
Because I feel like cake is layered. And you can kind of take slices of cake and then, kind of dissect it. That's how I am with my feelings when I have really big feelings. I have a process for how I go about it. I feel like ice cream melts. And when I think about melting in terms of like a process for dealing with your feelings, I don't think that that's the best way to deal with your feelings. So I think I would say I'm cake. I'm layered. And I know that my feelings, especially when I'm dealing with big feelings, that they're layered, and I have to kind of peel back the layers and understand what I'm dealing with. So I would say cake.
Okay, come on here. All
Mm-hmm.
right, last one is a two-parter.
Okay.
It's a little bit more spicy.
Mm-hmm.
When you think, first part A,
Mm-hmm.
if you were to go to a department store and purchase your ideal sexual partner, the sexual partner of your dreams, would they come from the grocery department or the electronics department?
My ideal sexual partner, would they come from the grocery department or the electronics department?
Correct.
Oh man. First of all, I gotta think about what this even means. One. I would say the grocery department.
Because?
Reason why I say the grocery department is because when I think about electronics, I just start thinking about toys and like I think about toys and like those dolls that people be having, like those human-sized dolls and all that. And I'm like, that's not what I want in a sexual partner. I want something real. You know, I want something that I can actually, taste, that I can eat. That's what I think about. So for me personally, I'm just like, all right, grocery store, grocery department.
Okay.
That's what vibes with me.
Okay. So
Yeah.
this is part B.
Okay.
If your partner was looking for you in the department store, you as a sexual partner, where would they find you? Electronics or grocery?
Grocery. And the reason why is because I feel like sex is like with those two options. I feel like sex is more like a meal. A grocery. It's not. I don't see how it could relate to the electronics department. So I feel like with me, it would have to be the same thing that I'm looking for in my partner, like something tangible, something real, something that you can taste, you can enjoy. So for me, I would say grocery. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And folks playing along in the chat, a couple people said, somebody said groceries for sure. Someone else said groceries go bad. And then someone said electronics because I need to learn something new and challenge myself. And groceries go bad.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
groceries go bad, but the point of getting groceries for it to not go bad. You're supposed to use it before it goes. But I get it though.
you got bananas that you eat regularly, but then you got that salsa that gets stale in the back of the refrigerator.
True.
And so, if I were to answer that question, it's interesting because I would answer that question. I would have picked electronics because electronics for me is something you invest in, right? Electronics costs money. Electronics, folks, if you are connected to electronics, you are on the latest and the greatest, and not the latest and the greatest as in like I get a new iPhone every time it come out, but tried and true is the iPhone. So now we're going to get new partners every time. I'm not going from iPhone to Android to Google Pixel and all that. I want what I want. I'm committed to what I want, and I want the best out of what I have. And so I'm that partner, and then having a sexual partner who is committed to learning the specs, learning how it works, reading the instructions, taking care of it, keeping it, keep putting the screen protector on it, like all of those things. Do that same thing to our sex life. And I feel like get the best out. You like that? You see how I did that there?
I like that. I like that. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much for playing along. Thank you all for watching, for playing along. This is one of my favorite parts of this, along with the interview, but obviously this is my favorite part of the interview because every time it's something different. And though I may switch up the options, the questions are pretty much the same, but every guest gets something different out of the questions. And really for us, if we're talking about relationships, is one of the tools as a coach that I use to help people think differently. One of the hardest things about expressing yourself for Black men or women or just humans in general is finding language for the feelings that we have. So activities such as this helps to kind of like give us common, for the most part, we all generally understand what you find in the grocery store. We all generally understand what you find at the electronics. So that gives us a level playing ground, and then we can go from there as to what makes it individually us. So it kind of helps. A lot of times that encoding and decoding, makes people not want to express themselves, right? Because if I say I'm gonna say what I mean or say how I feel, you're not gonna understand me or you're not gonna listen. And activities like this sometimes help to like smooth that, that soft startup in those type of conversations. So let's go ahead and jump right in. BSPs. What that mean? What that mean?
I'm gonna tell you what people mean when they say it.
Tell it.
So be his peace. A lot of black men say this and agree with it, and I agree with it to a certain extent as well. So be his peace is basically like if you're coming into his life, don't nag him, don't bother him when he's chilling, don't mess up his equilibrium. Don't throw his life off balance. Basically, don't come in and be someone or something that's going to be a negative source in his life. Keep the house peaceful. Make it a sanctuary so that I can be able to come back home and enjoy myself there. I feel like that's what people mean when they say. But you said, well, however, right? So we were having this conversation on a podcast. However, I think peace needs to be created internally. This is the problem, right? So there's nothing wrong with be his peace because I wholeheartedly believe in that. But there cannot be peace where peace doesn't already exist. You can't ask somebody to create or be peace for you if you don't already have peace within yourself. So if you're at war with yourself, you're at war with the world already, then you want somebody to create a peaceful environment for you. That's not possible because they can create a peaceful environment, but because you're at war with yourself, nothing will ever be peaceful. Nothing will ever truly be peaceful, or peace will always constantly be changing for you because you don't even know what it looks like for yourself. So I think when we have the conversation about be his peace, it has to start, and I know a lot of men don't like this, and I do it all the time on the page, it has to start with us, right? Like, we don't like to have that conversation, right? And it goes both ways, right? Even for women that are looking for men that are peaceful and that are going to bring serenity and all that kind of stuff as well, you have to start with yourself, right? You have to be able to be your own peace before you say, oh, be my peace. Because what does peace look like for you, right? We just talked about language, because language is very important. It's about how do you communicate what you're looking for in a person? How do you communicate what's peaceful to you? How do you communicate what you're looking for in your household? What are these things, right? Because one of the big things when you have, when you're in a relationship is when you guys start, living together, when you guys are moving in together, that kind of stuff, right? And this is where like the be his peace really comes into play because now it's like we're living in a shared space together, right? But if you're not able to communicate what you're looking for, if you're not able to communicate what peace looks like for you, and then you're getting mad because things aren't the way you want them to be, you only have you to blame in that situation because you haven't been able to create peace in your own life. So now you have a person that's with you that you're not able to really lead effectively, that doesn't know what you're looking for. So you guys are always kind of butting heads. And the reason why is because you haven't established what that peace is for yourself. So I think it's, yes, you want the person that comes into your life to bring peace and, bring peace into your life. That's very valid and that's not a crazy ask. But you also have to understand that peace cannot exist if you haven't created it yourself.
I love that. And I think that sits right at the door of this conversation of that often goes hand in hand with be peace is the safe space idea. And then also that brings in like this concept of this like feminine energy and things like, and there's a lot of expectations of Black women to hold up or create these environments where Black men can rest as a result of all the ills that they have to experience in the world. Yeah. But what I love how you said what people mean. And so tell me if I'm being pessimistic or if there's any validity to the idea that that's what they mean in theory, but in practice, women are required to kind of make up for what Black men aren't getting out in the world?
I would say in practice, sometimes that does happen,
Okay.
right? Because what ends up happening is because a lot of us come into relationships, a lot of us as Black men, we come into relationships already not having language for how to express what we're dealing with, already not feeling really truly super comfortable with who we are, our full range of emotions, not really having a process for dealing with our emotions, regulating our emotions. And so now we're coming into a relationship, and when you're in a relationship, communication is key. And it's very important for you to know how to process and regulate your emotions. And so all of this pressure is being put on not only us, but y'all as well, if we're talking about heterosexual relationships, because now it's like, okay, how do I get him to get to the point where we can actually have productive conversations about what he's dealing with?
Yeah.
And what you're realizing there, and that when I say that sentence, is how do I get him to do this when he's doing, like, once you start having that kind of conversation, you have to understand that you can't get him to do anything.
Talk about
And that's what I say to women all the time. I'm like, yo, I know you want to get this man to open up. I know you want to get this man to express himself. I know you want to get this man to start healing. I know you want to get this man to go to therapy, all these different things. Release yourself from those shackles.
Ooh,
Right?
say that again, please.
No, seriously, release yourself from those shackles, because you cannot get anybody to do anything that they don't want to do. And as simple as that sounds, it becomes so super difficult in relationships because women internalize this belief that I have to get him to this place. Don't get me wrong. What I'm saying, I'm not saying don't support him in his process. What I am saying is don't make yourself responsible for his healing. Don't make yourself responsible for his expression. Don't make yourself responsible for creating peace in his life when he hasn't created that himself. You cannot do that, right? Because he has to come in with these skills. You can help him to hone them if he's willing to work on them himself. But if he's putting up a wall, if he's showing you that he's not interested in healing, he's not interested in changing, this is who he is, then you beating your head against that wall, you punching that wall, trying to break it down to change him, is only going to create more resistance in the relationship. It's going to create resistance in the relationship on his end, and it's going to create resentment for you as the woman, because now you're sitting there like, my man won't do this, he doesn't love me, he doesn't want to do it. And it's like, bro, he's shown you from day one this is who he is. You're now trying to break it. You're trying to break that wall that he's already shown you, that is a wall that he's comfortable with. This is for the men that are not willing to do the work. Now, we're going to talk about the other side, for the men that are actually showing that they want to do the work, that are actually slowly opening up more and more, that are saying, you know what, I think I might need to go to therapy. I think I do need to talk about these things. What you're doing in those moments, you're already doing what you need to be doing if he's getting to the point where he's like, okay, yeah, I want to do these things. I'm opening up, right? Like, if he's getting to that point, then all you need to do is support. And the ways that you can support is you can show him resources. You can send him the page. You can send him the webinar, right? You can send him therapy resources. You can help him search for therapists. You can go to couples therapy. You can create space for him. And the way that you create space for him is just talk to him. Yo, how was your day today? You know, don't give me the short answer. Give me the long answer. What happened today, right? And allow him to have space to kind of release the things that he's dealing with. But if he doesn't take those opportunities, if he shows on multiple occasions that he's not interested in having those kind of conversations, he's not interested in digging deeper, if he shows that he doesn't have a process for dealing with his emotions, he doesn't know how to regulate his emotions, he's always turning up and getting mad and blacking and all these different kind of things, then you have to understand that that is a man that needs to start doing the work. And it's up to you to make a decision on whether you want to accept him for who he is, because a lot of times what ends up happening is women get into these relationships and they don't want to accept the person that they're with for who they are. They want them to be something else, when he's very clearly showing you and telling you, this is who I am, right? And you end up being in a relationship for a while, however long, and you're in a relationship with the potential of that person versus who they're actually showing you to be, right? And when you get into a relationship with the potential of somebody, you are potentially going to get hurt, right? And
Okay.
that potential is very high because a lot of times people don't change.
Mm-hmm.
We would love people to change for us. Listen,
Mm-hmm.
I'm an optimist. I'm always going to be the one that's like, man, you know what? He probably could do better. There's
Yep.
a potential that he could be
Yep.
better, but that's
Yep.
just a potential.
There's
That's
the possibility, and then there's probability.
right. That
I
exactly.
could win the 1.5 billion on the Powerball on Saturday. I could, and for sure, I'm going to buy my tickets. If y'all super say don't worry. But am I going to be brokenhearted Saturday night when I don't get it? Because the reality of it is, I knew what the odds were, and I love this. I love the how this is connecting to the conversation we had on Tuesday when Chris was talking about encouraging women to use their discernment. And so I'll ask you, and I ask them the same thing. What you laid out was like this dichotomous experience between a man who's willing to do the work, or beginning or done the work, or is doing the work, and then the one who's not there yet, who's comfortable with that wall, is what you said, which I really liked. As a woman who is socialized to be his peace, socialized to be a safe space, who's resting confidently in her feminine energy, as a Christian woman who is 70 times 7, we're forgiven, we're turning the other cheek, and we're doing all the things to show not only our womanliness and our supportive potential, but also our good Christian, all those things. How do we know the difference? How do we know, in essence, if we're casting our pearls before swine? Like, how do we, what does it look, what does a man who's ready or willing to do the work, even if slowly, versus one you might as well just hang that up? Like, how do we know the difference?
Answer that has been on my spirit. Okay.
Froze a little bit.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. You froze a little bit.
Okay. All right. I'm going to say that again.
Okay.
Sometimes being his peace is understanding that you cannot be his peace in the present moment. And I don't want that to go over heads, right? What I mean by that is sometimes you need to remove yourself from the situation because all you're doing is causing more problems. In that situation, not only are you causing problems for him because he's not ready to take that step, but you're causing problems for yourself because now you're beginning to seep into the stage of resentment. So being his peace in that moment is understanding that I need to remove myself from the situation because he's shown me that he does not want to grow from here, right? So I know your question was, how do you know when you're with a man that's ready to grow and like heal and change versus when you're with a man that's not? And that's a really good question. I would say there are certain signs, right? There are certain signs. So I kind of listed some of them earlier. One of the main ones that I would say is that he's more expressive, right? And the expression is not always going to be sexy, right? So here's the thing, right? It's not always going to be sexy. It's not always going to be refined. The expression could be simply that he's able to tell you what he's going through. You have breakthrough moments where it's like, oh wow, we talked about this and maybe we ain't talked about that in the past. Or he told me about something that he doesn't tell people, things he told me that he doesn't normally tell people, right? This is him showing that he's being more vulnerable. Right? When a man is showing you that he's being vulnerable, that's normally a good sign. That's normally him saying that, okay, I trust you enough to share these things with you. But there still has to be more work. He has to start creating a process for how he deals with his emotions. He has to be able to regulate his emotions. I would say, and I know my girlfriend's gonna say, you always tell people to get into therapy. I listen. I know what it's done for me, so I'm always gonna tell people to get into therapy. I would say therapy would definitely help. If he's even thinking about therapy, if he's even said that he's interested in therapy, I would say that that's potentially a sign as well. And I would say a man that is like that has techniques and tools that he's trying to deploy for when he's dealing with things. So men that are like journaling, men that are saying that they meditate, getting into yoga, going to the gym, men that are showing that they have processes for what they go through rather than just allowing what they go through to, impact them every day and every which way and not having a process for it. So a lot of times when people DM me and they're looking for therapy, right, I'll say, okay, tell me what's going on and what are you doing to better yourself, right? And so they'll tell me the whole list of things that are going on, right? And I'm like, all right, cool. So, and then what are you doing to better yourself? And I can automatically tell where people are in their healing journey by what they tell me they're doing to better themselves. If they're like, yeah, I just listened to your podcast and that's it, I'm like, all right, you probably at like stage 0, stage 1. You know what I mean? Anybody can listen to a podcast.
Right.
Anybody can listen to a podcast. But if you're telling me like, okay, I've been journaling, I've been meditating, you know, I've been doing, you know, my affirmations, but I just really think I need to take that next step. That's a man that's doing the work, that has started the process. And it's different. And you'll also see the differences in the way that he carries himself. You'll know when a man is doing the work and he's ready, based on how he carries himself, how he treats the people around him, how he talks about you, how he talks about himself. These are all signs. So you got to pay attention, right? And it's different for everybody. So I can't just give you a list of like requirements and things that you can look out for. You know your man the best, or you know the men that are in your life the best. So you'll be able to tell when they're making a leap from where they were to where they want to be. So yeah, that's
and if you're struggling, I would even add that I'm not a man, but I would also be mindful of the talk versus the action, right? There's a lot. So there's, you know, people, now I'm not gonna make this a man thing. People talk good games. Like we have become accustomed to saying the things and presenting in the way to get what we want. And if we are really tuned in to our partners, I know what to say to get you off my back. I know what to say to, you know, to avoid this particular conversation. So you want to make sure, pay attention to those moments in which action is taken that you have not propped up to make possible.
Right.
Like, so you help, like, you know, sending them the Safe Haven link and the webinar and all of that, that's cool. But like, did you send it to him, have to register him for it, remind them that it was on, put it on the YouTube, put it to YouTube on the TV.
Yeah, if you
screen casted and all of that, took the notes, did all of that, called to make the appointment, and yet he went. So there's desire, and then there's compliance. And healing and like doing this work, this internal work, or really just relationships in general, you don't want to be in a relationship with somebody that just complies with things. Now, in long-term relationship, there's going to be some things we just go, I don't have a heart to go to your boss, to your company Christmas party. Like, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to be random people, but I'll comply. But there's certain other things like complying with telling you what's on my mind, complying with sex, complying with, you know, other things like doing this type of work. That's not anything that, so being mindful of things that they want to do versus they will do for the sake of keeping you around. Right.
And here's what I wanted to add to that. So I remember I was having a conversation about like 3 questions that you should ask when dating that will help you. And I remember people were saying, well, you can ask these questions and people will lie anyway, so it don't really make sense to even ask these questions. And I was like, bro, yeah, people lie. That's the thing, right? But the thing that you need to do is you got to listen to the words. You always want to listen to what people say, but you want to only move off of their actions that they take, right? So if a man is telling you all these things, all these stories about where he wants to go, what he wants to do, you got to listen. And it sounds great. That's all it is. That's all it is until he takes action and he shows that he's taking action, right? Until he's taking action to do these things, all it is to you is a story. That's what it always should. That's what it should remain. It should be a story and also a blueprint that you hold him to. So these are the things that you said that you would do 5 months ago, 6 months ago, however long ago, right? A man that is a man of his word is not going to say something to you that he will not do. And nobody wants to, I mean, personally, I don't think any woman wants to be with a man that's not a man of his word, because a man that's not a man of his word can tell you anything. And that does not mean he's going to do it. Nobody wants to be with that kind of person, right? So a man of his word is a man that has integrity. I'm only going to tell you things that I'm going to do. I'm never going to tell you something that I'm not going to do, right? Or I'm going to try my absolute hardest to do it. And if I didn't do it, it's because there were some external factors that really prevented me from doing it. You know what I'm saying? So this is where we get into trouble because people start believing the stories without seeing any action applied to it.
No fruit.
So I meet people all the time, right? I'm networking all the time with Express Yourself Black Man. People come up to me, yo, bro, we gonna link, we gonna partner, we gonna do this, do that. You know how many times I done had somebody come up to me and tell me, yo, bro, we gonna partner, we gonna do something together, bro. I listen to the story. I never go on social media and start posting, yeah, me and this person working. I never say this is happening. Even when things are scheduled, I never will come on here and tell people that things are happening until it has actually happened. Because until it's actually happened, it's just a story. Yeah. It is just a story.
Yeah. And even in that, like, you still, of course, you want to be mindful and give grace for timing, you know, things like that. But I know a telltale sign for me, in my experience, of somebody who just talking is when you remind them of the thing and they get an attitude. And most times they get an attitude because they never intended to do it in the beginning. So now you're putting them in a predicament to lie to you again.
Right.
And so now and they're upset about that.
Right.
So let's take a pivot real quick to we're considered like, so one of the things I asked last episode to do is Chris from last episode is to break bro code for a little bit.
Okay. You trying to get me in trouble?
Yeah, break bro code for just a bit. We know you loyal to the brothers. We appreciate it. It is exactly what we love you for. Okay. But I feel like you breaking bro code will serve the Black women, which will ultimately seek to serve Black men.
I break bro code on the page all the time. They be hating.
Break the bro code.
So
what are we talked about last episode about, you know, this idea of what's understood don't need to be explained. We talked about sneaky links and what's meant by that and all this. One of the things that I've been seeing that I saw recently floating around was that a man will know within 3 to 6 months of meeting a woman or being with a woman whether he wants to be with her for real. Is that true?
I'm gonna say no. And the reason why I'm gonna say no is because I think for men, sometimes, and not even just men, just people in general, sometimes it takes people a little bit longer, right? And then especially if he's one of those men that has been hurt before in the past, that wants to take it slower, 3 to 6 months is super, like, that's a short amount of time. I ain't gonna lie. 3 to 6 months, you probably just getting to the point where you may have met the family, maybe. You telling me I know I want to marry this person before I've even really met their family and all the people that they with? Oh, hell no.
No, but that's such a good thing you put up. Let's talk about that. Is meeting a family still a big deal?
Oh, yes. Are you, yo, not to say, yes, meeting a family is huge.
Yo, in the chat, tell me in the chat, if meeting a family is still a big deal, drop a thumbs up or a thumbs down in the chat. Like,
I'm gonna debunk whoever says thumbs down. I'm gonna debunk it right now, and I don't mean to be biased.
Listen, I have seen now. So maybe it's social media and anecdotally, like TikTok, and people telling me like people's like first date, like first links have been at family functions. Like, meet me at the block party, and like, mom, this so-and-so. Like, I just feel like it's not like, you know, it's funny. I was watching Girlfriends, and when Joan, I don't know if y'all watch Girlfriends, but Joan was with was meeting a basketball player, and she was like, you introduced me to your mom. And he was, your parents. And he was like, I introduce everybody to my parents. They're my parents. And like a lot of people feel like I need you to meet my family first and see how my family think about you before I get fully invested. And like,
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like nowadays, like, it don't matter. Like, it be mom.
I'm gonna tell you
have
something.
Will know like 7 of like the moms.
I'm gonna break the people. I'll break the bro code for you right now. I tell you, a man is probably really interested in you if you meet his family. If you meet his family, a lot of dudes are not gonna have the sneaky links and the shorties that they're not really interested meeting moms and potentially pops. A lot of dudes is not doing that, right? Like you're not meeting my parents if you just a sneaky link. That's me personally. Right?
So okay, let's do a little study then. What's the relationship like with your parents? Are your parents together? Like, are y'all close?
They together.
Like,
They together. And I want to add this too. So I want to add this. Somebody said they Ghanaian in the chat. I'm Ghanaian as well. So the reason why I'm mentioning that is because African and Caribbean culture can be a little bit different from Black American culture. So I'm going to tell y'all, I'm speaking from African and Caribbean culture. Me and the family is very important in our culture. So if you're dating a man that's African, Caribbean, you know, West Indian, that kind of stuff, me and the family is extremely, extremely important. And he's going to want to meet your family if he's serious about you, because in his culture, he has to talk to your parents. He has to see how your people move, all that kind of stuff, because when we get married, like, that family is his family as well. So your struggles and your problems and your troubles are also going to be his struggles, his problems, his troubles as well. And that's just in general, right? Whether you meet the family or not, once you marry somebody, their family is now your family. When Shorty's sister or brother is calling her for $500, who bank account you think that's coming out of? It's coming out of hers, but it's still coming out of yours too.
Right.
Like, at the end of the day, it's still coming out of yours too. All of these things are going to be mixed and married together. So you have to understand, for me personally, that's the reason why I brought up the family. Meeting the family is very important. I got to figure out, you know what I'm saying, how we mesh, how we vibe. Now, I'm not going to sit there and say I'm going to dub a person based off of their family, but they're, you know, like, sometimes that may be a case. Yep. If I know you got some crazy ass family members and I'm not trying to deal with that, you may be a dub. You may be a dub. If it's super hard to like get along with your parents and they just they just be making shit extra hard for no reason, you may be a dub. You know what I'm saying? So just depending on what's going on, when we're talking about a man that knows whether or not he wants to marry a woman within the first 3 to 6 months, that's going to be a little, I don't know, man. At least for me, I haven't been able to do enough research if this is somebody new. Like, we just haven't been able to do enough research for me to be able to say, yeah, in 3 to 6 months, this is the person I'm with. I may be able to say, like, personally, like, I really mess with this person, and this could be the one, but I'm still going to be able, I need to do more research. I need to see your friends. I need to see how they vibe. I need to see cousins, family members, that kind of stuff, because all of these people are going to play a role in our lives moving forward. We talking about forever. Yeah. Right? Like, we talking about forever. So 3 to 6 months, I don't know. It happens, but maybe it's a generation thing, because I will say that the people who I hear say that are 40, up late 30s, 40, 50, you know, who are saying, like, they've already done, like, the building, like, they're secure. So, like, you know, they're not really looking for somebody to build a life with. They're looking to, you know, kind of continue life with. And even I think that might be a little different. But I also feel like, and again, tell me if there's some validity to this or if I'm being pessimistic. No, what's up? But, like, in some, like, non-Caribbean, non-African, me and the family is like a ploy, like, to, like, let me get in deeper. Let me bring you around. It can be. Some people do that because they just like, okay, if I let her meet my moms, then I know she's gonna think that I'm really interested. Then I'm gonna get some box. That it could definitely happen that way. But we talking about men of integrity, men that keep their word. You know what I'm saying? Men that have actions behind what they say. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the men that's out here doing dirt. Like, those men, you need to be running, right? You need to be running the other way. But the men that have integrity, within 3 to 6 months, I don't know, man. You don't know about that? I know some men that's been in relationships for a few years that they still, like, I don't know, even had a kid, all that. They like, oh no. I don't know. That's clipped. I'm keeping it a stack. No. I'm gonna keep it a stack. I'm keeping it a stack. Now you don't see that's not a tad bit ridiculous. Absolutely. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Okay. You sent a video of the lady. If y'all been in a relationship for a few years and you decided to have a kid with Shorty, and you don't know if that's who you're gonna be with, now you're just playing games, bro.
Yeah, now you
just
did
now
you
you
see
come
the
on, bro.
video, that viral video of the lady who opened her vows and like blew the dust off of it because they had been dating
Oh,
for
that was
15,
fire. I love that.
yeah,
I love that.
15 years.
But but here's the thing, right? You don't know because you don't know. So I've known my girl for 10 years, right? We got together. Yeah, we got together when we were in high school, though. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? We got together in high school. We broke up. Now we got back together. Okay. So we could technically say like we were together for 10, whatever, many years. So what I'm trying to say is like people could be together from when they were mad young. Like if you start a relationship at 20, mm-hmm. and then y'all decide to get married at 35, like
no.
Why?
No. What?
I think it's different. I think it's different for women. I feel like y'all be looking for it.
That's the problem, and that's what we talk about today. That's the problem. It shouldn't be different because here's the thing: if y'all been together and let's talk about this. Y'all been together 15 years, from 20 to 35, committed. Nobody went, nobody stepped out nowhere. Nobody did anything. We together. That's your boo. We rocking. Mm-hmm. What are we changing with the marriage? Why are we waiting? If you wanted to be with me all of this time, what did the marriage do differently?
Y'all do understand. So here's the thing, right? So as a man that's thinking about marriage and definitely wants to get married and all this, I'm realizing marriage is expensive as fuck. Do y'all understand that? Like, y'all do get that, right? Like, if this man doesn't have a stable income, if he's not really able to support himself like that, he probably won't be that comfortable saying, yo, let's get married. Yo, we gotta talk about a ring. Y'all be wanting Susie from Oklahoma to pull up. You want special wedding cards and y'all want gift baskets. Y'all want all these things at the marriage. The marriage, at this point, we talking about $50,000 marriages.
That's $50,000 weddings. You spent $50,000 dating me for 15 years. Easy.
Oh my God. So you telling me
on trips, on gifts, on just because 15 years we probably lived together, we sharing rent. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
let me ask.
Oh, you breaking up. Oh man, is it just frozen on my end? Are you back? Hold on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, talking about.
Did you hear what I just said?
No.
Okay. No. I said, so you're telling me right now, I'm supposed to sacrifice all the gifts that I got you, all the years of rent that I bought, all the years of rent that I paid, all these different things that I did during dates. I'm supposed to save all that money for marriage? You think that the relationship would have still worked if I did that?
Listen, if you got, now granted, and I'm about to be transparent. I got married at 22.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
I was married almost 10 years before I got a divorce.
Okay.
I don't regret it, but if I had to do again, 22 was a bit young. We met when I was 20.
Okay.
22 was a bit young.
Okay.
However, if we would have waited maybe 24, 25 so that we could like develop and do our own thing, but he's 10 years older than me, so like that also changed the dynamic of me wanting to wait 5 years. He almost 40. So that changed the dynamic of it a little bit. However, there is nothing, if you're in a committed relationship for 15 years, the finances that you're talking about for the wedding is going to be the same. Shave 10 years off of that, and the money you spent over 10 years, put it in the wedding, and then now the other 10 years are now shared responsibility, or however y'all work y'all finances. But
I just don't see it happening that way. I mean, I think in a beautiful world where
I just don't want you to spend $50,000. Here's this big sis talk. Mm-hmm. If I don't want you, I know now. I understand African weddings it's a thing.
Listen,
I'm aware. Listen, I am aware. It is a thing. It is a thing. It is a thing. I hear you, bro.
These pockets gonna be hurting. I'm gonna keep it stacked with you.
I hear you, but there's also a decision. And we doing that same example, 20 to 35. Year 2023, we 3 years in. Now we can begin to start saving and like intentionally, because this is what we want. But the intent of marriage, there's no way that the intent of marriage is discussed and then not realized for another 10 years. That math just not mathing.
Okay, I get
based
that.
on what you just said, like a man who put action behind work, like you're not gonna keep telling me you want to marry me for all this time, or be clear from the beginning, because everybody's not marriage minded. Be clear from the beginning that you have no intentions of that. Right. And either person, man or woman, give them the opportunity to decide, okay, this is not what I want. There are people who believe marriage is just a piece of paper. That's crap. Take that how you want. Marriage is not just a piece of paper. No, that's crap.
That's crap for sure.
That's crap. So, but if that's what you believe, don't string me along because you want to keep me, but you don't want to realize the dream that we're not on the same relationship trajectory.
No, absolutely. I get that. I get it.
I get 20 is young to get married because I did it. But we're not finna be shacking for 15 years. They're just not happening. We're not doing that. That's just not happening. No, that's clear. Shut it down. Ooh, shut it down. We're not doing that. Sorry. Love you, but obviously you don't love me enough if you comfortable with, status quo for 15 years.
So do you feel like, so you feel like a woman should also participate in paying for the marriage? You feel like
marriage or wedding?
Okay, the wedding.
It depends. It really depends on the relationship dynamic. There were certain parts of my wedding that I covered that my family, well, not me, my mom covered for my stuff. He covered his own stuff, and then we had a kind of non-traditional, like folks paid for their own food at the reception. I was 8 months. It was a thing. Don't worry about that. That was the thing. But I do know that couples who decide they want to get married, they're set their time, and they don't have family to support them, so they share the wedding expenses. I don't think even if in a relationship dynamic the man is responsible for all the bills, I don't see why he should be responsible for the entire wedding, especially if the delay in the marriage is because he's financially responsible for the whole, like that just doesn't make any sense. Like if the only reason why y'all waiting to get married is because he has not saved up all the money, then we either split it or do a smaller wedding thing. Go to the justice of the peace. And that's the other thing. Here's the other thing. I've seen people do it. A friend of mine, she had a traditional African wedding. And then they had a private ceremony at the Justice of the Peace for their traditional or their white wedding. And then a year from now, they're going to do the big white wedding for all the people. But they wanted to be married. They're not delaying because they wanted the extravagance of, $50,000, but they also wanted to be married. So I think that finances is at times is a convenient stall tactic.
Okay, here's what I'm gonna say. I see a brother in here, the Ghanaian brother. He said you can have the guests pay for the food. Yes, my brother. Have the guests pay for the food. Save your money. Listen.
But here's the thing: in African weddings, you pay for it. That spray, y'all gonna get that back. So
listen.
I dropped a nice bag at that last African wedding I went to.
I gotta invite you. I
dropped a couple dollars. So
I gotta invite you to get some of that, recoup some of that bread. I need the people in the comments to let me know, specifically the women that want to get married. Are you putting bread up? Because if you're not putting bread up, you better be happy waiting. If you're not putting bread up, you better be happy waiting, especially if that man is not financially stable. So are y'all putting your money where your mouth is at? He said, I'm about to do that. We got 2 whole ceremonies to finance. Facts. Don't be paying for all these people food. You don't even know. That's my thing, right? So I'm about to get in trouble after I get off this live, right?
You are.
I am. But it's all good.
Sorry, girlfriend. I'm sorry.
It's all good. She know. When it really come down to it, I'm gonna cave on a lot of these things. I'm just gonna talk my shit. But so here's the thing, right? You paying for people's food that you don't even know. She got people coming from all these different areas. You haven't even met this person a day in your life. They coming to your wedding. You don't even know who they are, and they eating up all the food and you paying for it. That just don't sit right with me. You coming to my wedding, you eating up my food. I don't even know you, and I'm paying for this.
I don't understand. Now, again, this could be a cultural thing.
Yeah, go
but
ahead.
Nobody's coming to my wedding that I don't know.
But sometimes that's just how things happen. You got her mom that wants to invite the co-workers that you ain't never seen before, and they end up getting an invite.
And get an invite, Mom. That's $150 per plate. What you got on it? You want Miss Susie from accounting to come?
That's what I'm. Listen.
Run me my time. That's not me. And I really do think it's different. I think as weddings are shifting and we're becoming more and more non-traditional, I think like there's a whole hashtag on TikTok about new wedding rules, and like people are really like changing the dynamics of how weddings are going, especially because like somebody said in the comments, most of the time the bride's family pays, but we're moving away from bride's families.
Oh yeah, most of the time the bride family pays. We're gonna have to have some conversations. Man, your pops is supposed to pay for it. she said no, sir. Listen, man, we're gonna have an argument about that tonight.
Yes, y'all are, but don't tell her I have nothing to do with it.
No, it's not you.
I don't got nothing to do with it. Okay, so listen, I told you that somebody else in the comments said that their dad paid, which is a blessing. But when you got more and more single parent households, less and less people. Because Lisa, God rest her soul, she paid what she could pay, but also I got married for $500, like top to tail. $500.
Listen, I need that plan. Whatever you did,
$500. I listen, and that's after giving the pastor a couple dollars, dress, shoes, whole kit and caboodle. $500.
$500. I need that. Somebody said what I missed. Tyson, we was talking about weddings. Who should pay? Who shouldn't? How much a woman should pay? We were talking about be his piece. What that means. What it doesn't mean. All that kind of good stuff. Are you saving this live?
I am going to save it. I'm going to save it. It'll be on the page for tonight and tomorrow, and then we're going to move it to YouTube.
Okay.
But yes, I will be saving. Okay, so before we get ready to wrap up, I'm doing this for one of my school assignments. So for my dissertation, I am looking at intimacy perceptions and sexual scripts among Black men and women. And so we have to do like a mock version of it for my closing assignment. And I've been interviewing Black men about their perceptions of intimacy, right?
Okay.
And I've really almost, and it's gotten to me to the point where I'm even considering changing my population, like not even doing Black women now. Like I just want to look at intimacy and Black men. Like it's just something about it. One of the questions that I asked that has touched me the most is I asked them to describe the most intimate experience they've ever had in their life. Intimacy, like, do you say that? I'll rip my dress. Describe the most intimate experience you've ever had in your life.
The most intimate experience I've ever had in my life. It definitely wasn't sex. I'm gonna keep it a stack with you. It wasn't sex.
Talk about it.
That's where we get confused a lot of the times, and I'm gonna stall a little bit here just so I can kind of think. But what I'm gonna say real quick while I'm stalling is, a lot of us as men think that intimacy and sex are synonymous, and that's not true at all. Sex is like one little subset inside of the entire like intimacy like group, if you will, right? Sex is just like, it just activates one little subset. That's like physical intimacy. Sometimes you can get emotional in that, but a lot of men are not really even having like emotional intimacy when they have sex. So I think for me, probably one of the most intimate, well, it'll definitely be with my girl. It would be time. Ooh, man, I shared with her something that I have not shared with anybody in my life. Not on the page, not with my therapist, not with my parents, nobody. And I was terrified. I said, damn, she gonna leave me after this. If I tell her this, she gonna leave my ass. And she was like, you know, that's normal. And like, bro, when I tell you like the weight that was, first of all, not only the weight that was lifted off of my shoulders, but just us being able to share that moment and me being able to kind of feel seen and validated and affirmed in that moment. Yeah, that I would say that's probably the most intimate moment. So a lot of times we get intimacy confused with sex, and we think that sex is the only way to be intimate. That's not true.
Yep.
That is not true at all. Most of the times, like what I realize is the most intimate moments we have come outside of sex. It comes when we just chilling. When I'm just looking at her, I'm like, yo, bro, you really a dope person. Like I like you as a person. A lot of people don't like who they with.
Yeah.
That's a bar right there. A lot of people mess with they really are in a relationship and they love that person, but they don't like them. That's a bar right there, right? Like you can love somebody but not like them. And I think a lot of us get into these relationships and we don't be liking the people that we with, bro. But I really genuinely like my girl. Like I like her as a person. And so when we have moments where I can just really see all the things that I like about her, and we could just really just talk and vibe and chill and laugh and have fun, like those to me be the most intimate moments. Like we just went and played basketball today. We haven't done that in mad long. When we was playing basketball, and that was fun to me. That was an intimate moment. That was a bonding thing that we did. And that had nothing to do with sex. Like I wasn't even like, that had nothing to do with sex at all. So I think a lot of us, we need to get out of using sex as the only way in which we be intimate. Like it don't have to be that. Like it does not have to be that. A lot of, we could do so much outside of sex that can bring intimacy in our relationships. And so I encourage the people that are in here, that are in relationships or that are dating or whatever the case may be, to step out of the sex, step out of the bedroom, and really start to find new ways to be intimate with your partner and see different sides of them that you haven't seen before, and continue to learn them and grow with that person. Because there's so much to the person that you're with. Even if you've been with them for a long time, there's so much stuff that you can be doing to learn about them. So many things that you haven't even talked about, that you didn't even realize were things that they may be interested in. And these are all moments in which you can create, or you can like foster intimacy. So I would say just, keep digging, keep investigating that person, keep dating them basically, right? And, continue to try and build intimacy outside of just the physical, because the physical gonna happen. We have our needs, right? Y'all gonna have sex, bro. What are you doing outside of that? Like, what are y'all doing outside of that? So I think that's important.
Yeah, that is. And when you think about y'all playing basketball, y'all just chilling and all those kind of things. Again, to wrap back around to our original point of this conversation, how does that feed you, fuel you? Like, what do you feel more capable or safer to do?
With her, like I always feel safe, so it's not even like I feel more safe with doing that. I think for me personally, it's just knowing that I have. I think it's frozen. Hello? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. I thought it was frozen, but you heard what I just said?
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, so for just to repeat, like I don't ever like feel like I can't share with her. So it's not like I feel like I can do or share more with her. It's just knowing that I have somebody that I can share those moments with, that I can just be like, yo, let's go play ball. And she'll be like, yeah, cool, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? And she knows that she can do that on my end as well. Like, yo, let's go to the beach, or yo, let's go do this. All right, cool, let me see how we can do it. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's knowing that you have somebody that's down to do the things that you're interested in and do them with enthusiasm. And it's not gonna be all things, right? Like, there's gonna be certain things that she's not interested in, that I'm not interested in. But just being able to bring those things up and know that she's actually gonna listen and be receptive to those things. I think that's very important. Like being receptive to the things that your partner is interested in. You don't gotta be passionate about it. You don't have to be an advocate for it, right? Like my girl's not a mental health advocate, but we sit and have conversations about stuff that I post on the page all the time. She shares stuff with me, you know what I'm saying? And then even outside of that, the things that she's interested in, we will have conversations about that. I'm getting better with like trying to make sure that she feels seen as well, right? Because I think a lot of times what ends up happening, like we were talking about it earlier, is women create a lot of space in relationships for men because we come into relationships not knowing how to express ourselves, with a lot of like, a lot of society is around like women making sure that they're, his and all these different things. And so sometimes a woman can get lost in that. You know what I'm saying? She can get lost in just trying to get caught up in his life or the person's life that I'm with. And now she's not being seen. right? She's not being seen in the way that she would like to be. So I think we also have a responsibility as men to make sure that the people that we're with are being seen as well. Like when she comes back home from work, what are you talking to her about? Is she able to express what she's dealing with? Is she able to talk about how her coworkers are bothering her? Do you know who the coworkers are? You know what I'm saying? Do you know what her schedule is like? Do you know what she did today at work? Right? Like, do you know what she's doing on the weekend or what she would like to do? Do you know the things that she's interested in? Right? Like, how are you making her feel seen? And how are you creating space for her as well? Because that's very, very important, right? She's the only one creating that space. There's an imbalance in that relationship, and she's gonna get tired and exhausted and feel like she's not being seen and validated for who she is as a person. And nobody wants to be in a relationship with someone where they don't feel seen. So,
Absolutely. Man. And the more that happens, the more we shrink. And then the more we shrink, the less we show up. And then it continues that cycle of you're not there and I'm not there because you don't see me and you don't see me because you're not there. And it's just that, that kind of vicious cycle. And then we get to the bedroom and then folks are just going through the motions.
Yeah.
And shout out to the whole thing. So we can wrap up. What, and I know, we talked about the my Vulva Me Dear Black Woman book that we had. I didn't get you to talk to you about it, but we have to postpone that. I wanted that to come out Valentine's Day. That's going to be the death of me if I try to get that book out by Valentine's Day. Okay. So I'm postponing that for a little bit, but we're still doing the Dear Black Woman this series. So what is your offer a closing message to Black women, starting with Dear Black Woman? And just give us your couple closing thoughts.
Dear Black woman, I know you're working hard. I know you're tired. I know you're looking for a person to spend the rest of your life with. But understand that it's okay to prioritize yourself in this season. It's okay for you to be in your season of singleness. It's okay for you to date and meet people that don't meet your expectations and to let them go, right? I would say a lot of times, like we talked about it a lot today, there's a lot of content and, programming and all these different things out for Black women on what Black women need to be doing to find a man and why you not with a man and why you single and you will end up single for the rest of your life and blah, blah, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, yo, bro, let all of that go, right? Like, just let all of that go. Be yourself. Learn to prioritize yourself. Date to get to know people. Do not date because you are feeling like you are alone and that you need to marry somebody right then and there, right? Date with the intention of getting to know somebody and let that person go if they do not meet your expectations and your standards. Make sure you're creating peace and serenity in your own life, and that will attract the person that you are meant to be with and you're meant to spend your life with. So that's what I would end it off on. I think that's what I would end it off on, because I feel like there's so much language or there's so much stuff around women ending up alone right now. We don't need any more of that. And then the last thing I would say is, Black men are not your enemy. Okay? So I'll say that in the Dear Black Woman form. Dear Black woman, Black men are not your enemy. We are your partners. Like, we are in this together. I know you're seeing all this stuff on social media. They promoting all these podcasts that are doing bad in our community, that are not helping our community, that are not uplifting our community. The reason why they do that is because of engagement. That's all it is. Because it's easy for people to comment on content that does not uplift versus sharing content that's positive, right? There's literally pages that get paid off of sharing content that is divisive to the Black community. And they disguise themselves as pages that are for the Black community. Like, that's not a page that's for the Black community. If you putting up content that's dividing our people, you're not for our community, bro. You know what I'm saying? So you got to understand this. You got to pay attention, right? And understand what you're being fed, because what you're being fed is going to create the environment, is going to create your perception, right? And you cannot find a man if you feel like men are your enemy, right? So if you're interested in finding men, if you're interested in finding someone that you can spend the rest of your life with, I would highly advise that you unfollow a lot of the content or a lot of the pages that are promoting content that is not conducive to the lifestyle that you want to live, right? Like, because what end up happening is, as a result of that, you start to put yourself in a space where you're starting to see more of what you would like in your life, and you're able to kind of manifest that and see it and envision it, right? And if you can't envision it, it won't happen. And it's harder and harder to envision it when all you're seeing is content that shows you that this is not possible, right? But I see so many examples of Black love, healthy Black relationships all over, and not only just on social media because I changed my feed, but in real life.
Yeah.
Like, and the way that I would say this is like, when you buy a car, and I don't know if this is true for everybody, but when you buy a car, right? One of the things that ends up happening after you buy that car, you start to notice everybody else that drives the same car as you.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why is because you're now cognizant of what that car looks and feels like, not only on the external, but also on the internal. And your mind is now super honed into that. This is the same thing that happens with social media, right? When all you're seeing is negativity, 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 all you're going to see, not only on social media, but in real life, is a bunch of negative images that help you to confirm the bias that you've already created, right? The bias that you've already created because of what you're being fed on social media. So it's very important that you tailor your feed to what you want to actually receive in your real life. Because just like that car, right? When you tailor your feed, now you're going to see that, and you're going to be able to envision it and manifest that, right? And the only step that's between you and actually making that thing a reality is you being able to envision it and manifest it. So that's what I'm going to leave y'all with. Please be mindful. The person that you're looking for is there. You just have to be able to envision it, manifest it, and let go of all those images that don't portray the life that you want to live.
Yeah. I knew this was going to be fire, and it was indeed that. Bro, I appreciate you. You know, anything you ever need from me, you know I got you. Just let us know. I know you dropped all the safe haven and all the sections and partners, but say it again for those who just joined us. The live will be saved. It'll be up until tomorrow, and then after tomorrow, it's going to transition to YouTube, the Intimacy Firm's YouTube page, if you want to check out the rest of it there. But just for those who just joined or who may have missed it, let us know what you got going on, where to follow, and about the webinar again.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Express Yourself Black Man is a healing platform for Black men, community of healing for Black men. We have Safe Haven, where we offer low-cost therapy, so it's $75 a session for Black men. We also offer a medical concierge service that will pair Black men with Black doctors in their area. As part of our low-cost therapy program, we also pair Black men with Black therapists. For people that are interested in therapy, that are interested in getting started, taking that next step in their healing journey, we are teaching a webinar on how to find a Black therapist on November 12th. The link is in my bio. Again, that is Express Yourself Black Man. If you are on the live, all you need to do is click the upper left-hand corner, and you'll be able to follow me. And then the link is in my bio to join the webinar. Do not miss out. We will do another one, but what you want to do right now is, if you even can't make this one, you can register, and then you can auto-register for future webinars so that you're automatically registered for whatever webinars we have in the future. I would highly suggest, if you are interested in therapy, if you are interested in finding a professional, that you join that webinar. We have over 300 people registered, and we had over 300 people registered last time. We're going to be giving out the game on where you need to go, what you need to do, and what you shouldn't do when you're looking for a Black therapist. And then inside of that webinar, we'll also be pairing people with Black therapists as well. The last thing I want to say is thank you so much, Brittany. This has been dope. Definitely going to do the written Dear Black Woman. I was thinking about it earlier today. So I got some of my thoughts out, so I'll make sure that I put that in a written form and make some content around it. And then the last thing is, whenever you put this on YouTube, send that link to me so I can create clips and all that kind of stuff.
Yep, we'll do.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We will be back again next week, Tuesday and Thursday again. Tuesday, we are talking about the foundations of intimacy, specifically for Christians. What is this concept of intimacy? Kofi mentioned different types of intimacy beyond sex, and we're going to get into all of those and the biblical foundations of those. It seems like y'all really like that type of Bible study-ish way we opened up. So we're going to do a little bit more of that again. And Thursday, we have Dr. Vince, who is a mental health, he's a psychologist, and his primary client base are as Black men. And so we're going to talk about what Black men are saying in therapy, what they're bringing as it relates to their relationship and thoughts regarding Black men, what they're bringing into the therapy space. So we talked about the need for it. Now we're going to talk about what's actually happening, what they're actually talking about, what it looks like when a man is in therapy, and how that changes. And then that's Thursday. And then the following week, we have Sabrina Thompson. We're talking about legacy, generational wealth, and what that looks like for partnerships. And then we're going to close out with Twine Steele on Thursday the 17th for Till Death Do Us Part, and this idea of Black love and what it takes to have long-lasting Black love. After you spent your $50,000 on your wedding, what does it take to get a $50,000 marriage? And so that's what we're going to talk about. That's how we're going to wrap up the season. Be sure to, and every episode will live on the page for a day, and then it'll transition to YouTube. So thank you so much for joining in. If you're just joining me or met me for the first time, welcome. Join the Intimacy Insiders. We have a good old time, talk about sex and stuff, and Jesus. Praise the Lord on our page. So I will see you next time. If you got in trouble later, it's not my fault. But I hope you don't get in too much trouble. And y'all have a good one. Until next time.
All right,
bye.